Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Monday, the 28th of October 2024, the year of 1 million transactions per second or more. Experience the best of both worlds today at betbitcoinsv.com, the best casino and sports betting on chain. Have a little flutter in private using the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Right, let's see what we got today. There's so much to catch up on. I had to sort of narrow it down. But we're just going to go through my feed here because there are some very interesting points that just need going over, do a bit of a catch up with everything that is going on. Then we've got this article here by Cointelegraph saying CBDCs and cryptos should coexist, not compete. It says CoinDCX co-founder. Just goes to show you he doesn't really have a clue what Bitcoin really is. Then we've got some articles here by BSV Blockchain, latest news. We'll go over this one. BSV Blockchain at AWS Summit, navigating the transition to, I think that's like Web 3. Yeah, whatever. And this one as well. Stablecoins shifting from speculation to everyday. We've read that one already. Companies which don't adopt blockchain will be left behind. Yeah, we'll decide on which article we're going to have a look through then. There's this interesting article here by Unilad saying hackers finally unlocked man's $3 million Bitcoin wallet after he forgot password for 11 years. So we'll just find out what went on there. And then Bitcoin Magazine has said if Microsoft invests in Bitcoin, it'll be likely via spot ETFs again. So another scam. They're not actually buying Bitcoin. They're just putting Bitcoin in the hands of like BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street as usual. And then we got this one here, the Satoshi Nakamoto statue in Lugano is inspiring. I mean, it's another one. It's so funny. They just don't want people to know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, this mysterious unknown figure. What a load of bollocks, as we know. And that'll be the end of the show. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Here we go, rock and roll. We'll just go do these in chronological order on the way down. So BitCrash said here, according to the Bitcoin Standard, that's the book by Saifedean Ammous, cash in respect to BTC is better understood in the 19th century central bank gold reserves rather than modern term for small transactions. And then he said you can't make this up. So let's see what this is. Again, I haven't read the Bitcoin Standard because I know it's a lot of bollocks. But let's see what it says here anyway. So in 2016 and 2017, as Bitcoin approached the maximum number of daily transactions, what a load of crap. There is no maximum really. Uncapped block size, it has to be uncapped so that limitations and restrictions can't be manufactured and the network not be manipulated. So that's a load of bollocks. The network continues to grow. As is clear from the data in Chapter 8, Bitcoin is scaling through an increase in the value of on-chain transactions, not through a rise in their number. So he's saying that, all right, again, this is another psyop. So he's talking about the increase. So in other words, the value exchange is going to increase. So the value of the transactions is going to get larger, not smaller. And basically what he's saying is the volume is going to decrease, and the transaction value is going to increase, and therefore I guess the miners can take more commission from that. But again, that eventually leads to centralization because there won't be enough transactions in order to economically sustain a variety of miners. So again, it's all geared towards centralization. More and more transactions are being carried out off-chain, settled on exchanges or websites that handle Bitcoin, turning Bitcoin into more of a settlement network than a direct payment network. Well, if it's a settlement network, it's like banks. They're centrally controlled. It's ridiculous. It needs to be a payment network where loads of people are using the network and anyone and everybody can compete to process them. It's the volume that's required. This does not represent a move away from Bitcoin's function as cash. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. If you, we're only going to process, $1,000. The minimum spend is $1,000 on the network. That's not cash. Cash is meant to be the most liquid form of money, and money has to be a commodity, so it has common value to everybody. As is commonly believed, while the term cash has come to denote the money used for small consumer transactions today, the original meaning for the term refers to money that is a bearer instrument, those whose value can be transferred directly without resort to settlement by or liability of third parties. In the 19th century, the term cash referred to central bank gold reserves, and cash settlement was the transfer of physical gold between the banks. If this analysis is correct, the Bitcoin continues to grow in value and off-chain transactions, while on-chain transactions do not grow as much. What a load of crap. So basically what they're saying is that his vision of Bitcoin is destined to fail, or at the very least end up in the hands of a centralized controlling entity. You know, I can't believe these BTCs actually believe this crap. It's ridiculous. He continues, Bitcoin would be better understood as cash in the old meaning of the term, similar to gold cash reserves, rather than the modern term for cash as paper money for small transactions. So in other words, we're stuck with, conveniently stuck using the central banking network for all of our transactions. Would you believe it? How convenient. It's ridiculous. Interesting. And remember, Truth Machine here also said, to remember this, Gavin Andreessen's deposition under oath asked if Dr. Wright has the Satoshi keys. The question was, and he really does have position to the private key for Block 9. Gavin answered, I still think it's more likely than not that he does. So again, Gavin Andreessen, the founder of the Bitcoin Foundation, along with John Matonis, saying this, who met Craig in London, who probably knows, Gavin probably knows more about how Bitcoin works than anybody else, saying this. Massive credibility there. Then we got 369 BSV saying, what the F? How can this be allowed? Surely there should be an investigation. And this was in response to Hustler Bitch saying, it's crazy knowing BlackRock shorted 12 million shares of Trump Media Group stock, the DJT, the day before his assassination attempt. They have $1 billion in assets under management, and this was by far the largest put ever placed in their history. Whoa! My goodness. Again, I mean, there was all that kind of stuff going on 9/11. So they obviously knew what was going on. Absolutely outrageous. Truth Machine has also posted here saying Copa member and BTC partners are trying to pretend like they will try to scale Bitcoin again. I wonder if this has something to do with the recent $1.2 trillion passing off case filed against them. Let's see what's going on here. So Charles Guilletmet said, with 8 billion humans using Bitcoin and a throughput of just 7 transactions per second, it leaves 2 transactions per human in a lifetime. Scaling Bitcoin is a necessity. Oh, they're only just starting to realize this. This is hilarious. Creating a trustless, scalable and secure layer 2 that's centrally controlled and not competitive, ridiculous, that settles on Bitcoin is not really possible with the Bitcoin limitations. Oh, he's starting to realize that layer 2 is a load of bullshit. Adding an opcode to the Bitcoin is necessary to tackle this challenge. I'd be in favor of having a primitive capable of verifying ZK proofs to settle validity rollups. Then we'd have to choose the primitive wisely, since Bitcoin can't upgrade every 6 months. Also, MEV must be taken into consideration to ensure that Bitcoin's EOAs can still transact. Another approach would consist in adding more generic opcodes that are enabling convenience. Again, how to choose the right one. Satoshi left us opcat. It enables covenants, thus is de facto consensual. Opcat is not the ideal solution, but it solves the scalability challenge we have. It's genetic enough to unlock plenty of other use cases and should meet the consensus. So let's reactivate Opcat. Again, so they're reactivating all the codes that Blockstream deactivated. This is hilarious. But again, I mean, it's all done on the genuine Bitcoin. It's only going to be a matter of time before even these douchebags figure it out. Oh dear, it's going to be an uncomfortable learning curve for them. And someone here has also said the talk in which, that's Jameson Lopp, proposes reopening the block size debate. See, look, even they're talking about reopening it. Unbelievable. When he told me he was doing it, I audibly groaned. It's actually a pretty reasonable argument for carefully protecting self-custody and sovereignty, and Bitcoin. Recommend watching when it's posted. Dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear. So even the BTCers now want to reopen the block size debate. That's absolutely hilarious. Oh dear, oh dear. And I wonder who's won the block size scaling debate. I wonder who's scaled massively more than anyone else. Oh dear, oh dear. It's going to be a race. I mean, they're sweating is what it is, because they know the mistake they've made. Well, actually, the fraud they've perpetrated on everybody, should I say more correctly. Also, CSW said here, COPA should check their notes before they filed documents. I will note this so that they can ensure that they start checking what they write and removing the details. This is a heads up. Please don't expect me to be so nice again. Let's see what they put here. So, grounds for stay for the present claim. Jonathan Hoff QC, I've adjusted the order of the grounds and, as per my earlier email, reduced the emphasis on protecting Dr. Wright as a vulnerable litigant. That would be a hostage to fortune. As he will say, he is happy to fight on multiple fronts, and we would then have brought into his narrative of extreme vulnerability. I mean, yeah, and this was... in point 25.4, SquareUp's intended striker application is likely to draw significantly on the terms of that order and the history of the various claims in relation to which that order was made. It's getting juicy out there. It's getting really juicy out there. And I've actually got some more tweets. I'll try and find actually. Again, yeah, there's more coins being woken up. Look at this. So 25th of October, dormant address containing 50 BTC has just been activated after 14.3 years. Let's have a quick look at this. Let's have a look at what has happened to the transactions. Have they been... Oh, look at that. Yeah, look at that. So again, a genuine Bitcoin from a number one address being converted to SegWit. Look at that. Oh, I wonder who said they were going to do that. Dear, oh dear. Wow. Right, I'm just going to see if I can now locate these other posts, because they were sent to me by a certain significant individual who wanted my opinion on them. Right. DU09BTZ. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, here we go. These are the ones. Right. So they said here, Bitcoin is in trouble. If nothing changes soon, things won't be pretty. I'm not talking about the halving schedule or block rewards. It's much more serious than that. And so again, we've got the block reward halving going down and down and down. And what he's referring to is the block subsidy, because the subsidy needs to go up and up and up continually. And that's not going to happen when no one's using it, because there's a limit. The miners have to have something to compete for, and the miners aren't bothered about the increase in the price of the coin. What they need is continual coinage. They need continual payment, ongoing payment. So the block reward goes down to zero, but the block fee, again, effectively goes on and on and on unboundedly as more and more people start to use the network, and the coin obviously becomes more valuable. But so the miners aren't actually bothered about the increase in the coin. The miners need coinage, and the coinage is going to come from the volume of transactions. And if there's no transactions on the network, the miners can't economically sustain themselves, and which means inevitably the network will either collapse or fall into the hands of a centrally controlled entity. That is literally it. That's literally it. We've got another one. I think Justin Bone said, BTC is a dinosaur. The technology is ridiculously out of date. At an embarrassing 7 to 13 match transactions per second, it is in a position to disrupt nothing, all while being the most inefficient possible, as it excels at nothing. From utility to economics, BTC is a failure. Yeah, so I've actually just had to explain that. In fact, yeah, 14 minutes. I can explain what my answer to that. In fact, I'll read it out here on this show. It's exclusive. You got it here first. So I said, this is what Craig has been trying to explain all along. Bitcoin is an economic model. It gets its value from its utility, which is usefulness. If something is useful, it is valuable. If something is useless, it is worthless. If the Bitcoin network is not utilized, i.e. made use of, then there will be no block fee to replace the block reward. The block reward that distributes the coins as they are extracted from the program ends at 0 once the fixed supply of coins have all been extracted. The Bitcoin miners require a continuous supply of coins to cover their continuous running / operational costs. When the block reward is 0 by the year 2140, there is nothing to cover the costs. The price makes no difference to the miners. They need coins like payment to continue to cover their running costs. If the network has nothing to compete for, it becomes non-competitive and therefore centrally controlled. Blockstream have purposely created a second layer 2 / second layer to use for transactions, quotes there, that will starve the miners of any transaction fees. They've basically designed a system that is destined to fail, or at the very least fall into the hands of a centrally controlled entity. This is why they are promoting a proof of stake consensus mechanism, because it is non-competitive and therefore centrally controlled. This is also why Craig has been fanatical about scaling Bitcoin massively so that it can replace the entire internet, so it can be used for any and all digital requirements. These idiot BTCs have simply drunk from the Blockstream Kool-Aid BS. The guys that made these posts are only just starting to see it. Alright, clown emoji. And then I've continued, the ignorance around Bitcoin is staggering. The BTC / Blockstream narrative is digital gold, store of value, not many use it, which conveniently leaves us stuck with and reliant on the central banking system and their BSV currency system of fraud and deception. The BCH Bitcoin Cash narrative is it's purely a cash system and nothing more. But if the system itself has no use case, then there is no economic demand to purchase the coin. The BSV narrative is what Craig designed Bitcoin for, which is to economically sustain a digital system that doesn't have any central point of control and instead is economically incentivized to be competed for by the demand to use the network that can only be accessed by Bitcoin. So the demand for the coin comes from the demand to use the network for the purposes of data sovereignty, security, efficiency, and integrity. Data integrity also covers transparency and traceability, which is precisely why the cabal don't want it, or for people to use it, because if they do, it will eventually expose their entire worldwide criminal network through the chain of digital signatures. And then I've said the Bitcoin network is like everyone having access to their own secure private server. The way you access the server is with Bitcoin, and that's why you buy it. That's where the demand comes from. So I'm trying to explain this to significant individuals. I hope I'm doing well. Thoughts would be welcome on that. Let's have a look at this article here then. So CBDCs and crypto should coexist. This sounds like a cabal Blockstream narrative, doesn't it? Not compete. That's a CoinDCX co-founder who clearly hasn't got a clue what Bitcoin's all about. So let's have a look at this. Sumit Gupta shares insights on India's approach to CBDCs and private cryptocurrencies, emphasizing the need for balanced regulation. India's regulatory position on cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies continues to fuel debate, with recent discussions suggesting that CBDCs could have an edge over private cryptocurrencies. Give me a break. In an October 23rd X post, Sumit Gupta, the co-founder and CEO of CoinDCX, argued that CBDCs and cryptocurrencies like a Bitcoin serve different purposes and shouldn't be viewed as competitors. Sounds like his puppet masters are making him say this to me. His post promoted responses from the crypto community, with some warning that CBDCs could resemble fiat currency. Well, they are fiat currency, digital fiat, potentially carrying the same inflationary risks as traditional currencies. Well, absolutely. As India shapes its approach to crypto regulation, striking a balance between security and innovation will likely influence its role in the global digital economy. Aren't they? Hindustan Times. CBDCs versus cryptocurrencies, well, they're exactly the same. It's ridiculous. In an interview with Cointelegraph, Gupta said apart from like cryptocurrencies, some may be fixed in supply. That's it, really. In an interview with Cointelegraph, Gupta said he believes both CBDCs and cryptocurrencies are valuable but serve different roles. CBDCs are issued centrally by the nation's central bank, which ensures complete control over their issuance, supply and usage. Gupta added that this centralization enables efficient implementation of monetary policy, allowing for a better management of inflation, liquidity and interest rates. However, some remain skeptical. In a recent Cointelegraph interview, Jack Booth, co-founder of Tron Society, said CBDCs pose the greatest danger to self-sovereignty, adding that public trust in governments is at historic lows. He said, so this is a quote here, public trust in governments, especially in Western countries, is at its lowest level ever. The introduction of CBDCs, which would give unelected officials complete authority over your funds, would only worsen the existing problems that prompted and fueled the development of Bitcoin many years ago. Risk of banning cryptocurrencies. India has debated banning private cryptocurrencies, but Gupta said he believes the country is open to fintech innovation. Various Web3 reports have indicated that with over 75,000 core Web3 talents and more than 450 Web3 startups in India, implementing a ban could stifle the entrepreneurial spirit and hinder advancements in blockchain technology. Gupta highlighted that India's regulation has enabled crypto exchanges to comply with financial intelligence units, guidelines and tax frameworks. This shift could be seen in March when the Supreme Court of India struck down the Reserve Bank of India's, that's the RBI, ban on banks dealing with crypto-related firms. Striking the regulation balance, Gupta argued that the Indian government, to ensure a level playing field where all participants follow the law of the land, he said, unfortunately, there are still players which are not compliant on various parameters. Taxation still remains high on our agenda. Time and again, various reports have established that taxation drove a lot of users to offshore platforms. Gupta said he hopes that relief is given on taxation since the establishment of compliance and monitoring, which he says is being driven through PMLA, this is a Prevention of Money Laundering Act initiatives. Quite a good article, that one. Interesting. Right, I've got 21 minutes. Let's have a quick look at this one. What's the title of that one there? BSV Blockchain at AWS Summit, navigating the transition to Web3. Yeah, let's do this one. BSV Blockchain represented its infrastructure solutions at the AWS Summit in Zurich, Switzerland on the 4th of September 2024. Visitors could learn more about Terranode, SPV Wallet and overlay services and its innovative solutions, as well as engage with BSV Blockchain representatives on a personal level at the BSV Blockchain booth. Another highlight was a presentation held by Siggy Orkarsten, Director of Terranode at BSV Blockchain. One-click deployment of blockchain apps. Web3 has been a much discussed term in the past decade. However, the market still lacks ready-made solutions that can be quickly deployed and integrated into business processes. To tackle this, BSV Blockchain has formed a partnership with AWS, a clear go-to-market strategy. The collaboration is aimed at making blockchain easier to adopt for businesses, as Alexander Gora, head of marketing adoption at BSV Blockchain, noted in his interview with CoinGeek. He pointed out that business will be able to deploy Web3 solutions in one-click. Apps and services will use BSV's innovative network components such as the SPV wallet and overlay services at scale over the BSV blockchain. Scalability is another aspect in which AWS and BSV Blockchain have joined efforts. The role of scalable blockchain in Web3. One of the most significant challenges in blockchain adoption has always been scalability, particularly for businesses that need to process high volumes of transactions quickly and cost efficiently. Darren Kellentweller, utilization technical team lead at BSV Blockchain, pointed out that most blockchain systems face scaling limitations which restrict their widespread adoption. In Web3 micropayment economies, will be essential for creating sustainable revenue models. However, to process millions of small transactions, businesses need a scalable blockchain solution that eliminates the bottlenecks seen in traditional systems. This is where Terranode comes in. During the AWS Summit in Zurich, BSV Blockchain demonstrated Terranode's massive scaling capabilities, which are essential for supporting a global Web3-based economy. According to Carson, Terranode is a new implementation of Bitcoin node software, splitting into microservices for scalability. This allows each component for the blockchain to be scaled independently, a breakthrough in overcoming the limitations seen in traditional blockchain systems. BSV Blockchain Overlay Services and SPV Wallet. To further enhance usability, BSV Blockchain is developing overlay services which act as a bridge between Terranode and end users. As Thomas Giacomo, Utilization Director of BSV Blockchain, explained, developers will have access to open source components, including the SPV wallet, which they can deploy easily on cloud services. This makes the deployment process fast, cheaper, and more efficient than competitors' solutions while offering superior technical capabilities. The simplified payment verification wallet plays a crucial role in blockchain scalability by enabling users to verify transactions without needing to run a full node. That's massive. Connor Murray, Director of Stewardship, explained that SPV drastically enhances scalability, enabling micropayments at a massive scale, which is essential for fostering a peer-to-peer economy in Web3. With low fees and the ability to handle millions of transactions per second, SPV lays the groundwork for a distributed and scalable digital economy. That's what we want. That is what we want. Beautiful, as Bernard Matthews used to say. Right, it's 25 minutes. Let's have a quick read of this one. Hackers finally unlocked man's $3 million Bitcoin wallet as he forgot password for 11 years. A Bitcoin wallet worth $3 million took 11 years to be hacked into after the owner forgot his password. If you think it's a joyful day when you find a $10 bill in an old bag you haven't used in years, but imagine this guy's joy after getting access to $3 million worth of Bitcoin after being locked out of his wallet for a whopping 11 years. An anonymous owner got in touch with ethical engineer Joe Grand, who goes by the handle Kingpin online, to hack into an encrypted file holding 43.6 BTC. In a bid to protect his crypto as best he could, the owner had used a random password generator called RoboForm. Alas, it seems he'd protected it too well, later losing the password. The anonymous owner became really paranoid someone would hack into his computer and obtain his password, ultimately gaining access to his cryptocurrency and so enabling the help of Kingpin to try and get it back, with Grant having previously helped another owner recover their access to over $2 million in crypto in 2022. He said dozens of people have previously contacted him to ask for help with recovering lost treasure. Grant decided to turn a lot of them down for various reasons, but decided to help this particular anonymous owner with his quest. In a YouTube video published by Grant, the wallet owner said, "I generated the password, I copied it, put it in the passphrase of the wallet, and also in a text file that I then encrypted. At the time of the owner losing access to the account, the Bitcoin worth stood between $3,000 and $4,000. But as the price of Bitcoin had risen by more than 20,000%, the owner decided to reach out to Grant. So Grant used a tool developed by the US National Security Agency to disable the password generator's code. He said, in a perfect world, when you generate a password with a password generator, you expect to get a unique random output each time that no one else has. But in the version of RoboForm, it was not the case. While RoboForm's passwords appear to be randomly generated, they're not. With the older versions of this software, if we can control the time, we can control the password. Grant was able to trick the system by changing the time back to 2013 when the password was generated, and after a few failed attempts, it ultimately led to the same password being created. The hacking experiment then worked with his colleague Bruno to generate millions of potential passwords. He was able to eventually crack the code, which Grant said to Wired was a lot down to luck. And then it finishes here saying, "We ultimately got lucky that our parameters and time range was right. If either of those were wrong, we would have continued to take guess shots in the dark," he told them in an email. Whew. What a great story. What a great story. That's 28 minutes. Well, let's have a quick look at this one just quickly. So the Nakamoto statue in Lugano is inspiring. Lugano's new disappearing Satoshi Nakamoto statue is a beautiful tribute to Bitcoin's anonymous founder. Not anonymous, actually. So let's have a quick look. Today, the city of Lugano in Switzerland unveiled an incredible statue honoring Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's infamous founder. I found this tribute incredibly inspiring and beautiful. The statue was revealed at Lugano's Plan B conference, turning heads with its clever invisible design. Viewed head-on, it disappears, entirely representing Satoshi's own anonymity. This is an artistic masterpiece perfectly encapsulating his mystery. Of course, some Bitcoiners like Mandrick found it underwhelming, but art is subjective. To me, this statue brilliantly captures Satoshi's ephemeral essence using visionary sculpture techniques. And Lugano was the perfect setting as a leading Bitcoin hub with over 100 merchants accepting Lightning payments. Again, Lightning payments, not Bitcoin. After visiting Lugano last month and living the Bitcoin life using Lightning while there, I'm ecstatic to return now that it's houses the iconic Satoshi monument. This is only the second Satoshi statue globally after Budapest's impressive effort. We need more inspiring Satoshi tributes to spread his peaceful ideals worldwide. This article is a take. Opinion expressed are entirely the authors and do not necessarily reflect those of BTC Incorporated or Bitcoin Magazine. Cool. That was actually quite a good show. That's 30 minutes. We'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. So as ever, if you enjoy these updates, please ding your donations for your appreciation to either Satoshi at Sempy.com, Handcash.io, Simply.cash, Relasia.com, Rockwallet.me or Senti.ch. We'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed it. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.